Hey everybody, how you doing? So we're back again and we're going to continue our online journey together. Would you like to talk about the heart? That's a big heart. Okay. Maybe you can tell I'm coming to you from the biology of our biology lab. Anyway, so today here's what's going on. We're going to do another listening test. Now, I have a challenge for you. Now, this test, I've gotten some feedback from a lot of you, and it's like kind of 50-50. Some of you thought the test was kind of easy, and quite a few of you thought it was kind of so-so, and then a lot of you also thought it was difficult. So, but we're going to do another one anyway. Again, this follows the test you're going to take, follows the expressions, the vein, same style as the CU test, but it's just a longer version. Now, here's my challenge to you. Of course, I understand, and I know that you guys, want to stop it and pause it and listen again, because you have the opportunity because we're just in the Google Classroom. But what I really want you to do today with this particular test is just go ahead and do the test. Don't stop it and repeat it. I just want you to see really how well you can do, okay? So I'm not grading you, I'm not giving you a mark for this, okay? So the important thing is just that you fill out, do the test, and then at the end, we're gonna do the same thing we did last time. I'm gonna review it for you. And this is what we'll do in class as well, even with IELTS tests for you guys in M6. So I don't want you to be concerned about that. I basically just want you to be concerned about, hey, what do I know? What can I do? What level am I at? And we're going to do it a little differently this time, is that I am going to do the same thing. I'm going to talk to you about, we're going to give you the answers. I'm going to read the script out loud for you and then give you the answer and a quick explanation of the answers. But at the end, I'm going to, well, maybe I won't tell you. Maybe I'll just let you see what happens. Well, what we're going to do is I'm going to let you see the script, okay? And then what I'm going to want you to do at the end is, if you want to listen to it again, of course do, but listen and follow along with the script, okay? So you can hear even more of what I explain, okay? So right now, what you're going to do is start the test, okay? So I think the last one, it'll take you about 35 minutes. So I will see you back here in about 40 minutes, okay? So you have about 35 minutes, and so I'll see you in 40, okay? Get to it, remember? Don't worry about it, okay? There's no grade, just see what you can do. Okay, guys, welcome back. So let's review the test again. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, why doesn't Teacher Gary show us the script right now and do it instead of just covering over the answers? It's because what I want to do is, while I'm explaining the answers to you, I also want you to hear it as you heard it on the test again another time, okay? And then, like I said, this time at the end, I'm going to show you the script, and then you can review on your own by listening to the test again and looking at the answers, okay? So here we go. Part A, the first conversation was a man saying, if the express doesn't leave pretty soon, I might as well stay in town. And a woman says, I've been waiting a long time too, but they say the track should be clear very soon. Question, where does this conversation take place? And the answer was C. Train station, C, at the train station. Why? How do we know this? Well, remember, what I've told you about this test is you want to focus on the second speaker. And the answer will come from, and the question will center around the second speaker. So she said, I've been waiting a long time too, but they say the tracks should be very clear. Tracks implies a train, a subway, something along those lines, okay? Your car doesn't drive on tracks, your bicycle, your taxi, a boat, nothing, okay? Number two, a man says, that they say my flight has been delayed for 9 hours. Guess I'll get a bite to eat and relax for a while. And the woman says, okay, I'm hungry too, but I hope the weather lets up soon so I can go home. Question, where are the man and the woman? The answer is C again. Of course, the airport. That one was probably pretty easy, but just in case, and if any of you missed it, she said, I'm hungry too, but I hope the weather lets up soon so I can go home. And the man, now part of the answer came from the man. He said, they say my flight has been delayed for 9 hours. Flight. Flight is the word associated with an airplane. So clearly they're at you get a plane at the airport. Okay, you're not gonna pick up a plane at the mall. Number 3, a man said, I came to the ward to see Barbara. She seems very cheerful to me. And the woman says, yes, I took her home. I took her some candy yesterday and stayed about an hour. Question, where does this conversation take place? And the answer is, of course, is B, the hospital. Okay, now this is very often on this test, as I told you before, this is about associating words with places and things. And the man said, I came to the ward to see Barbara. This means the term that's used is always a hospital ward. The areas, floors on hospitals are called wards. So when he said ward, that implied hospital. And she's very cheerful. And then I took her some candy yesterday and stayed about an hour, meaning she visited her. Okay, and that's the kind of place, the only place you're going to visit somebody who's not feeling well is either the hospital or jail, and they don't let you take candy to jail. So the hospital. Number 4, a man said, what are you doing here? You know the bank closes at 5 o'clock. And the woman said, yes, I know, but I left my purse in my desk and I want to go to the movie tonight. Question, where does the woman work? B, at a bank. Why? Because he said, you know the bank closes at 5 o'clock. But she said, but I left my purse in my desk. Desk where she works at, and where is the desk? Inside the bank. So she left the bank, probably came back, went back to go get her purse. And that's where she works. And number 5, a man says, this is the second time you've been late this week, and it's only Thursday. If you can't get here on time, I'll have to find someone who can. And the woman says, you know that I live far away and it takes me 30 minutes to get here. I can't ever tell what the traffic is going to be like. Sounds like she lives in Bangkok. Question, why can't the lady get to work on time? Letter A, the heavy traffic. You know, because what did she say? She said, it takes 30 minutes to get here, and she said it. She said the word traffic, all right? And, but maybe that's not the only reason, you know, maybe she's a lazy, maybe she's slow, but anyway, for our purposes for this test, we're gonna say that it's the traffic. All right, let's, new share, we're gonna do new page, and we're looking for number 2. Page 2, where are you? Okay, I can't find page 2. We're in big trouble. There it is. See, easy. Okay, so starting with number 6. Number 6, a man says, it's been raining for over 24 hours. I wish it would stop. I want to work in the garden. And the woman says, yes, they say that this hasn't rained this long for many years. Just last week, I read an article in the newspaper. Question, how long has it been raining? B, 1 day. Why? Because he said 24 hours. 24 hours is 1 day, okay? See, they almost confuse you there. They said 24 days, try to get you, they try to trick you. They try to trick you sometimes, so be careful. Number 7, a man says, my education didn't include home economics, cooking, and sewing. How can you expect me to do these things? My major was in English and literature. And the woman says, look, I didn't take those subjects either. I took literature and history. Who is going to take care of the house? Question, What subject didn't the man take? C, home economics, because he clearly says that. My education, when he says my education, he's talking about, oh, what he studied at university, okay? What he studies are the subjects. And she said, I didn't take them either. Either what? Meaning home economics as well. Number 8, the man says, I ran all the way to the bus stop, but the man at the ticket counter told me the bus left 5 minutes ago. And the woman says, that's really too bad. Those buses only go every 50 minutes, and no other bus goes in that direction. Question, how long does the man have to wait? Well, the answer is B, 45 minutes, because he just missed it 5 minutes ago, and they said that particular bus only goes every 50 minutes. Since he was late by 5 minutes, that means it'll be 45 minutes till the next bus. I know you were told there'd be no math on this test, but there is, sorry. Number 9. Well, Mrs. Adams, what can I do for you today? Did your mother see the doctor today? How is she feeling? And the woman says, she's feeling a little bit better today. She wants to know if you can send an order to our house right away. Question, what did the woman's mother want? And of course, the answer is B, to have him send an order over to the house. Okay, because that's what she said. The woman said she wants to know if you can send an order over to the house right away. That one was very straightforward, I think. Number 10, a man says, you know, I tried to buy a T-bone today, and they wanted to charge me $12.50 a pound. I can remember when it was only $5. And the woman says, well, I can't remember that price, but just last year it was $10 a pound. Question, how much does the steak cost per pound now? And of course, he said it. Number 10 is A, $12.50. Because he says it right at the beginning. They wanted to charge me $12.50 a pound. All right? Sounds like me complaining about prices on stuff. Let's go on to number 11. Number 11, I hope there's another encore. I really enjoy listening to them. And the woman says, yes, I prefer this to a movie anytime. Who is conducting tonight? Question, where does this conversation take place? Okay, so the answer is D, at a concert hall. This answer comes from the fact that you use the word encore. Encore is like when the band plays and then they leave the stage and everybody screams and yells and wants them to come back to stage. That's an encore. But this happens with orchestras also. And then she said, who is conducting tonight? Conducting meaning coming from the word conductor. Conductor is the guy who does all this stuff in front of an orchestra. Okay. You can call him a maestro also as well. Number 12, if it rings again, I'm going home. How can I get my work done before I spend all day, if I spend all day talking on the phone? The woman says, I know what you mean. Maybe we should disconnect it and get down to work. Question, why is the man angry? Well, he's angry because the telephone rings too much. B. You know, what he said there was, how can I get work done if I spend all day talking on the phone? And then she said, we should disconnect it. If you disconnect it, the phone won't ring anymore. Number 13, you know, prices are really going up. I had to pay $33 for a shirt yesterday, and I used to pay only $20. And the woman says, yes, I know what you mean. My dresses cost me over $60 now. Question, how much do the shirts cost now? Well, that was a pretty easy one too, I would say. That was B, $33 each. He said it right. He said it right there. I had to pay $33 for a shirt. So that was B again. Okay, let's do next page. We're looking for number 3 right there. Okay, this one's really crazy crooked. Sorry. Number 14, why do we have to wait here for such a long time? And the woman says, I think the weather is not so unfavorable that it can arrive. Question, where do you think this dialogue takes place? Well, the answer is, again, at an airport, okay? Because she said, excuse me, that when she said it can't arrive, Yeah, technically it could possibly be a bus, but they're specifically thinking, want you to understand an airport, usually arrival departures. Number 15, man says, how do you like your new job, Anna? It pays a lot of money, doesn't it? And she says, I should have listened to you and gone to work for the telephone company. Question, how does Anna feel about her job? Well, she doesn't like her new job, see, okay, because she said, I should have, what did she say? I should have listened to you and gone to work for the telephone company. He told her to take a different job. She took a job he told her not to take, and now she regrets it. Number 16, first we land at Tacoma International Airport. We only stay in Seattle for one day, and then we leave for California. Do you think we have enough time? And the woman says, well, if we want to go to Pike's Place Market, we're really going to have to hurry. Question, how many days do they have in Seattle? And of course, the answer is 1 day. He says, we only have 1 day. Number 17, man says, I have to see a dentist. One of my fillings fell out last night. I'm afraid it will start hurting soon. And the woman says, why don't you call up Dr. Jim? I hear he's pretty good and the office is very close to here. Question, what does the man want to do? Of course, C, get his tooth fixed, right? Number 18, woman says, don't give the children any candy. We have spoiled their appetites and I've been working on this meal all day long. And the man says, oh, just a few pieces. Won't hurt. I bought this for them because I know it was their favorite kind. Question, why shouldn't the children eat the candy? Well, that's of course is because D, they don't want to eat their supper, right? Okay. And now we're moving on to, I dropped the paper, sorry. 19. Maybe you had better do the shopping from now on. They charge me 99 cents a pound for 2 potatoes and $2 for a head of lettuce. And the woman says, oh, that's just the usual price. The prices may be high in that store, but the vegetables are always fresh. Question, what does the man want the woman to do? And that means A, do the shopping in the future, okay? And on number 20, a man says, I think that Mrs. Baker is one of the most charming people I know. And the woman says, yes, but I can't say as much for her husband. Question, what does the woman think of Mr. Baker? Well, clearly B, he is not very charming because she said, I can't say as much for her husband. When you say the expression, I can't say as much for her husband, that actually that's a nice way to say I don't really like him very much. I don't think good of him. I don't think very well of him. Okay, number 21, we need to switch pages again. Here we go, page 4. Okay. Excuse me, miss, but there is no visitors allowed here. This is the critical ward, and the patients must have complete quiet. And the woman says, oh, I'm sorry, I was looking for pediatrics, but I must have got off the elevator on the wrong floor. Question, where does this conversation take place? Well, obviously B, a hospital, because she mentions the critical ward, which is part of a hospital, and also pediatrics. Pediatrics is children's, the children's section of the hospital. Yeah. Okay, end of class. Not quite. Okay, number 22. The woman says, there's something wrong with this PlayStation 4. It will only work on slow speed and not on normal speed. And the woman says, I played it just last week and it worked just fine. Maybe it needs a cleaning or something. What speed will the PlayStation work on? And of course, the answer, they just said C, slow speed. Number 23, that's a nice car you have. When did you get it? And the woman says, I bought it on New Year's Day 6 years ago, but it's still in good running condition. Question, how old is the woman's car? 6 years old, she said so right there. Okay, I bought it on New Year's Day 6 years ago, so that makes it 6 years old. Okay, number 24, what are you gonna do now? Where are you planning to go? And the woman says, I'll have to go to the bank to cash a check. so that I'll have enough money to buy the tickets to go to the concert. Question, where does the woman want to go? Well, that's pretty easy. B, she said, so I buy tickets for what? She needs money to go to the concert. 25, you're usually working in your garden, weeding or planting on Sunday. Don't you ever like to rest? And the man says, I prefer to do that sometimes. I'd like to read the Sunday paper. Question, what does the man normally do on Sunday? And of course, that is B, work in the garden. Because it says, she said weeding, okay? And she says weeding and also planting. Okay, those two things are associated with gardening. Number 26, hello, Alice, where are you working now? I just went to your old office in the bank and they told me you had to quit. And she says, I'm working for a lawyer now. The pay is better and the work is much more interesting. Question, where did Alice work before? Well, the answer, of course, is A, at a bank, because what did she say? She just said it literally. I went to the bank and you weren't there, because she quit the job and she took the new job with the lawyer, so she used to work at a bank. Number 27, oh, that clock says 9 o'clock, which means that I'm late to class again. Sounds like somebody I know. Don't worry, that clock is fast. You have at least a half an hour yet before your class. Question, approximately what time does this conversation take place? And of course, that's at B, 8:30. Because what did they say? Okay, the clock says 9 o'clock. You have a half an hour yet. Half an hour from 9 o'clock makes it 8:30. Number 28, sorry I'm late. Oh, wait, 28, how many students do you have in your class now? And she says, I originally had 50 students, but 10 of them have been transferred to another professor's class. I only have 20 boys and 20 girls now. Question, how many students does he have now? And well, it's 20 and 20. Again, math, 40, answer is C. 29, sorry I'm late. Have you been waiting long? And well, I've been waiting 15 minutes, but it felt like 50 minutes standing here holding this 10-pound turkey you had me by. Question, how long has the man been waiting? Well, at least 15 minutes, we know that, right? B, because you said it. Well, I've been waiting 15 minutes. And sometimes this test has a very literal, easy answer. And the last one. The man says, what did you do after you heard the noise? And the woman says, well, I had already locked the door and I sat by the phone so I could call the police if he tried to get in the house. Whoa, that sounds bad. What did she do? B, sat by the phone. Old times, you don't actually have a cell phone. They're talking about a landline. Okay, so that's it for part A. And I'll come back after this and then we'll review part B next. Okay, see you there. Okay, let's go over part B for the test. What we're going to do this time is I'm going to tell you the answer and then I'm going to just read a little section about where you would get the answer from. Okay, so now question 31 was, why is Paula calling? Okay, so the conversation starts out and says, hello, Professor Joe speaking. And then she said, hello, my name is Paula. Why is Paula calling? I'd like to get into your course on medicinal plants. So that means the answer is B. She wants to register for a course. Okay. Now remember, this test always centers around university life. Number 32, the question was, what problem is involved in attending the class? Well, right after she says that, the professor responds to her and he says, I'm sorry, there are already too many students in that class. So that means too many students, that means 32, the answer is D, it's already full, right? Too many students can't do it. Number 33, the question was, why is Paula interested in taking the course? So right after that, Paula speaks again, and then she says a few things, and then she says, the course isn't offered at my school, and I think it would be very interesting. So this means the answer for 33 is A, it's not taught at her university. Number 34, Okay, we see all their choices here. Number 34, the question was, what does Professor Joe ask Paula to do? Well, what he says is they talk for a little bit, she talks, and then he talks, and then he says, in any case, you'll have to see Professor Roger to get his approval. So that means the answer for 34 is C, to get approval from Professor Roger. Then there's question 35. Question 35 was, what can Paula do if she can't take Professor Joe's class? And right after he tells her about the getting approval from Professor Roger, he says, if all else fails means if nothing else works, you know, you aren't able to get Professor Roger's class, you can register for my course in the spring. So that means the answer is B. For 35, B, take a similar course in the spring. Okay, let's move on next page. And the last one, number 36, the question was, when does Paula expect to see Professor Joe? And then this is the name, earlier in the conversation, we established that his name is Professor Joe. So the last thing she says is, thank you, I'll see you on Wednesday. So of course the answer is C, Wednesday, okay? So now let's move on to the next conversation. This is part of section B. I hope you can hear me. There's another meeting downstairs about something. I have no idea what. I'm sure you could tell me, but I'm sure it's not important for now. So let's move on to the second conversation in section B. So the first question for number 37, the question is, who is talking? And it starts off with two students. Now it says, listen to a conversation about study in a science course. So it's a woman says, oh, I'm glad to see you. You took Introduction to Science, didn't you? And the guy says, I sure did. So she's asking about a course. If he took it, that means he's a student. And she says, well, I'm thinking about taking it next year. That means she's a student. That means the answer for 37 is C, two students. Question 38 was, why is the woman glad that she saw the man? Well, the answer for that, excuse me, is B. She wants to ask for his advice. And how do we know that? Well, for what we just said, she says, well, I'm thinking about taking it next year. And because he said, I sure did. So that means she wants to hear from him, hey, you know, is it a good class? Should I take it? So she's getting, that would mean she's getting advice from him. Number 39, the question was, what is the name of the course the man and the woman are discussing? Now, this doesn't happen too often on this test, but once in a while it will, that the answers come a bit out of order from the conversation. The name of the course is mentioned the very first thing that the woman said. When she said, oh, am I glad to see you? You took Introduction to Science, didn't you? There you go. That was the name of the course, C from number 39, Introduction to Science. And the last question for this one was, what is the man interested in? Now, they talk for a little bit after all of that. There's a lot of filler and stuff. Then the last thing he says, he talks about how horrible the course is and you know, how he hated it, and it's all formulas and numbers. And then he says, well, you'll love this, but all I was interested in was biology. So number 40 is D, biology. Okay, so that's the end of section B. And now let's move on to section C. Okay, let's wrap it up with part C here. So we're gonna do the same thing. Remember, part C is a monologue. So is this somebody giving a lecture, like, you know, a teacher in a class. So part C, question 41 was, where are the researchers from? So right at the beginning, it says an archaeologist has been invited to talk to an archaeology class. And he starts to talk about the 1900s, and then he says, according to 3 California researchers. So this means the answer for 41 is C, California. Question 42 is, from what source did the researchers gather their information? Now, this was probably one of the harder questions. And the answer is, they say they looked at, studied ancient Greek and Roman archaeological and literary records. The researchers found documentation for the extensive use of solar power. And that means the answer is C, old documents, because they mentioned literary records are always, it's inferred that those are old as well. So let's move on to the next page. Okay, 43, 44, and 45 for this one. So the next question was 43. According to the passage, why was solar power adopted? And they say it right literally after they answer the previous question. They say the extensive use of solar power to heat homes. To heat homes. But the other part of the answer, okay, that was actually the lead-in to answer 44, to question 44. Question 43, after they say power to heat homes, so the answer to 44 is B, heating homes. This is another situation where sometimes the answers don't quite come in the order of when you're hearing the conversation. So the question 43, okay, question 44 was, why did the study show, what did the study show that solar power was used for? So the answer for 44, again, not 43, 44 was B. 43, immediately after that, they said the solar power used to heat homes, baths, and greenhouses when wood, the main energy source, became scarce. Scarce means that there's very little of it. So that means B, there was a shortage of wood, B for 43. And 45, the question was, how extensive was the use of solar energy? Extensive means how much was there, how was it everywhere, only in a few places. Extensive is about size, and area. You can use it in different ways. Okay, so how extensive was use of solar energy? Well, they said right at the end, they talk a little bit, and they said, they mentioned architecture, and then they say was widely adopted for individual houses and even for cities. So this means that the answer was C, it was widely used for individual houses and cities. All right, let's move on to number 46. This is the last talk for section section C. So, first question for that. I'll try to get my paper apart. Okay, number 46. What is the main topic of the talk? So, as I told you before, this is generally the answer to a question like this is always going to be like right at the beginning of the talk. So he says, have you ever wondered why you see moths flying mostly at night, then only around lights? It's evident that moths are attracted to light, but what do you suppose the light does to them? So that means they want to know B, the effects of light on moths. Okay, he said, what do you think it does to them? What it does to them is the effect, all right? An effect is how something affects something else, right? So, and then number 47, you already heard the answer for. Have you ever wondered why you see moths flying mostly at night? 47 was, according to the speaker, when are flying moths most often seen? What did he say? Why do you see them mostly at night? So that means, of course, the answer is D, at night. Now, number 48, the question was, what does intense, even light cause moths to do? And the answer for that was cease moving. Now you hear this, he says, here's my theory. A moth's nervous system is extremely sensitive to light. I think that light causes the moth to reduce its movements. Okay, reduce its movements, cease moving. Reduce means to lower, cease means to stop completely. Okay, number 49 was, what light source would have the most paralyzing effect on a moth? And he said, during daylight hours, light is much more intense and evenly distributed, causing the moth to remain motionless. Motionless, less known. So motion, no movement again. So this means we have to change pages. And where are we? Here we are. Okay. The sun, C for 49, the sun. And number 50, kind of a hard question. Number 50, it basically asked you, I said, what can be inferred from the speaker's comments about the flight of moths in total darkness? Okay. So what can be inferred from that? Well, A, they probably fly about freely. Because you hear about how sunlight slows them down, makes them motionless, how the bright light is intense for them and it's not good for them, and you mostly see them at night. So you'd have to assume that at night they go everywhere and anywhere. Okay, so there we go. There's our review for our second test. Please, feel free to ask me any questions about it in person when we're in class, when I do see you. Hopefully I'll see you soon. And the last thing I want you to do now, right now, after you shut off this video, I'm going to open up the script. Now the script is there basically for you to go over it and listen to everything again as you hear the script as it's being played. Now I read it to you, but for the part B and part C, I didn't read everything to you. It would be important for you to listen to everything in context, okay, and listen to it as it goes along and see, so you hear it yourself and you start getting used to the tempo of how people are speaking on these tests, okay? So do that, it's there for you, and I guess I will see some of you guys at some point, okay? All right, you guys take care.